Hi everyone, Cheri here from Orchard Corset, and do we have a treat for you today. Here at our headquarters in Wenatchee, Washington, I have with me 5 incredible women who have devoted much of their time and talent to the world to share their knowledge on corsets and corseting. Back again, we have Lucy from Lucy's Corsetry. Lucy is known for her research-based informational videos, and she has made herself a landmark in the world of corset blogging with now over 8 million views on her YouTube channel. Next, we have Byrdie, whose channel is Silentsongbyrd, where she focuses on how to incorporate corsets into everyday fashion with style, grace, and elegance. And here's Andrea, but you probably know her better as RandomCorset. Andrea's channel channels her energy into reviewing corsets and sharing her crafty corset making skills. Meaghann, known to her fans as LadyTigerLily. Meaghann's corseting journey grew from her travel and language videos. She brings a global perspective to most everything she does. And finally, the legend who started it all, Phoenix. Phoenix has come out of retirement to share her knowledge and expertise with us today. She is beginning a new YouTube chapter after the birth of her second daughter 3 months ago. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, first question. Why do you make corset videos? And do you have any specific goals in doing so? Why don't we start with you, Byrdie?
All right. Well, I started making videos just to share with people what I love, and part of that is corsetry. And so it kind of I just thought I'd put a feeler out and do one video and see what happened, and kind of grew from there. And I started getting requests for what do I wear with my corset, and how do I hide a corset, how do I accentuate my curves, different aspects. So I started kind of putting outfits together and putting those out there. And so my goal in that is really to try to show people that corsets can be shown. They can be something that can be incorporated into your everyday style, and they don't have to be, like sexy or anything like that. They can look really nice and they can be classy. And so I'm just trying to share different ideas of what you can do.
Nice. Lucy, what about you?
At the time that I started making videos, apart from Phoenix, there wasn't really anybody else on YouTube, and I was, of course, very inspired by her. But apart from that, I'm very research-based, and I used to work in a lab, and so I really like having hard evidence for things. And I realized that there is a lot of research out there, but a lot of it is not really accessible. A lot of it is hidden in little nooks and crannies around the internet. And I really wanted to bring it out there. And YouTube was like really blowing up at that time. So I really wanted to make this information accessible, especially for people within my generation.
Wow, excellent. Andrea?
I started making videos when Lucy had posted for asking people to respond to her video to show off their corset collections. So I started off by showing off my collection, and then I decided, hey, why don't I make review videos myself? Because then I buy from other companies than hers sometimes. Maybe my corsets are a little bit different than hers, so other people can figure out they like those companies' corsets. And then I also started making my own corsets, so I like to show my techniques for sewing them, and then more people can learn about what technique works for them if they're going to make their own corsets as well.
Wow, thank you. And Meaghann?
Well, I've always been interested in corsets from a historical standpoint, and majored in German and Russian language and history. So a lot of the royalty, of course, wore corsets, and it was a big part of women's fashion for centuries in some way or another. And I, of course, was inspired by both Lucy and Phoenix. So my first corset video was one that I made in Austria, and I wore it out to the opera. And I originally just started with the lacing and the wearing, and it was something that I would do for special occasions. But then it was something that sort of developed into a cultural learning experience. I could put myself almost literally into that time frame, and a lot of people don't know that the photographs we have of a lot of women in these very dramatic looking corsets are in their time frame or for their time photoshopped. So they take parts of other photos, make them smaller, and so even the women that did corset weren't to the extremes that you think. And I sought to kind of bring it back from the old ages.
Nice, great. And where it all began, Phoenix?
I became interested in corsetry pretty early on in my life when my grandma would talk about her girdles and such. And so I got my hands on one of those, and I YouTube everything when trying to find out information on it. And every video I found on corsetry was just somebody's torso spinning. And so I searched as much as I could online to find information, and once I found out enough stuff, I thought, well, I could try and put some stuff out there, and started putting up little videos of my interests and my experiences, and I never claimed to be an expert on it. I just said, oh, this is what I do.
That's what's working for me. Wow, that's great to hear. All right, next question, ladies. We have a plethora of waist trainers jumping on the vlogging bandwagon, and often with misinformation that is not only inaccurate, but can be harmful, not only to the people watching the videos, but to those unsuspecting corsets that those women are wearing. What are your thoughts on this? And do you feel the need to intervene or hope to counter with good information? Let's start with you, Meaghann.
Well, I'm sort of torn about it because for my viewers, I want them to receive correct information, but I won't necessarily mention that what they particularly are doing is wrong. It's like, well, this is how you're supposed to do it and why, both for the longevity of your corset and so you don't hurt yourself. A lot of the information that I had looked up when I was much younger was only in German. There's a very large culture around corsets in Germany and German-speaking countries. There are a lot of different reasons for that, but it's really just something that developed differently. And when I look at other people's videos and I see something that I don't personally agree with or I think is wrong, I kind of want to say something, but at the same time, I was like, well, you bought the corset, it's yours to ruin if you want. If they complain about it hurting, I said, well, you can correct it this way, but otherwise, it's one of those things I just sort of bite my tongue about.
What about you, Phoenix?
Well, I agree with Meaghann that it's obviously their corset and their money spent on that corset, and it's very disappointing to watch somebody do something horrible, and I cringe, of course. And I guess anytime I see something like that, I try to find a question that my viewers had asked me that would correspond with that, so that in case they had seen that video, that I could correct it in that way. But I wouldn't go out and attack a person on their video because that's their channel, and I wouldn't want that to happen to me.
Andrea?
Well, I have commented on some people's videos. I thought maybe they just don't know, and I try to inform them, but sometimes they just didn't want to hear the information. They kind of wanted to do what they wanted to do. So I just would watch the videos and kind of cringe. And, and then for myself, if I would just put out in my videos the things that I believe to be true and hope that people would follow that versus what other videos have done, basically.
I'm very much of the philosophy live and let live, and I try to give the best information as possible on my channel. And when there are things that I don't have any personal experience in, then I will try to direct them to any of these other people's channels. And I'm very open about this sort of thing. If I do see misinformation around there on the internet or things that I don't personally prescribe to, then I will make my own video and say, this is what I do. I think that our community and our audience is very good at self-moderating. And if they see something on another person's channel that they don't agree with or that they think is wrong, they will be the one to comment. But I'm not exactly the person to do that, especially when I feel that my opinion isn't welcome. But that said, we all have our own individual experiences, and what works for me might not work for somebody else. And even though we all agree on much of the same things about corseting, there's a reason that we agree and we have these guidelines, because not to oppress people or make people follow a certain way, but because from our experiences, this is what has worked best for us. That said, there is no one of us who is really the end-all and the be-all when it comes to corseting and corset information. And I always tell people, like, even on my own videos, take the information with a grain of salt. I encourage you to seek out other places and do a lot of research, because whatever you want to do for corseting, whether it's for medical use or fashion use, just be knowledgeable about it and go about it intelligently. Yeah.
And Byrdie, what about you?
I agree with a lot of the girls. You see a lot of things that do make you cringe out there, and I kind of pick and choose if I'm going to respond. I like to get a feel for the person by seeing all of what they do and maybe reading through some of the comments that they have made. And sometimes people just don't want your advice. So at that point, you just, you kind of just step back and be like, okay. But if I see somebody that is honestly trying and they want things to work properly and they just they need a little help, then I have made some comments before, like your corset might need to be flipped around the other way, or I've also recommended people to other channels such as Lucy's who genuinely want more information and just don't know where to look, and then I think it's proper to point them in the right direction then. So.
Well, thank you. This next question you might not all have an answer for, but what are your thoughts on ads on YouTube videos? For any of you that you got that?
Well, most people know that I do monetize my channel. I do have ads on YouTube, and I don't necessarily agree with all of the ads that are put on there. Sometimes they have absolutely nothing to do with corsetry at all, and I really have no choice in what they put on in front or beside my videos. But my channel is very heavily product based, and if I didn't have that support, then my channel would definitely not be sustainable, because I spend a lot on reviewing corsets, I spend a lot on materials for making corsets, and I do understand that there are people who don't like having ads, but I have spent thousands of hours of work. I've put thousands of hours of work into my channel, and I do offer them for free. Everything is like totally free, open source, and I would never actually charge somebody to view my videos. People have told me that I should make a DVD and start selling them, but there are so many people out there who they deserve this sort of information for free. And when I am watching somebody else's educational videos, I consider it just a very minor inconvenience to sit through 15 seconds of an ad, if I know that it's going to support them, and just to let them know I appreciate them giving out that education for free.
I completely agree with Lucy. I know when I'm watching other videos, it's not really that big of an inconvenience for me to, wait the amount of time that you can skip the video or to sit through it. And I know when I am following somebody that I agree with, like Lucy and all you guys, I will actually purposely watch any ads that are up or click on them, because, it's not a big deal to spend a few seconds of your time. And if no one likes them, they can skip them. And so if I was getting any negative reactions about the ads on my videos, I would probably reconsider and try to listen to people. But I haven't gotten any negative comments about having ads on my videos. And, every little bit helps. So as long as people are not too worried about me putting them up there, then I think that's something I'll continue to do.
I was going to say I don't put ads on my videos, even though I've been around on YouTube for about 6 or 7 years now. I've had several friends become very involved closely as YouTube partners, or they know the ins and outs much better than I do. But my videos are far from professional, as most people who are subscribed to me and these ladies know. They're still factual, but I'm very informal. I don't have any clear setup. My equipment is just whatever I happen to have handy, and my subscribers know I curse a lot. So it's not something that I feel is necessary, because I don't put out content that's strictly corset based. Unlike Lucy, I don't have a very large corset collection. I will show them, and I typically engage with my subscribers in comments versus through making videos for time constraint and whatever else may come up. But as far as that goes, it wouldn't be profitable to me even if I did. And I know that my subscribers would support me, just as they did when Lucy asked them, if they would be okay with that. And I think that most people said, yeah, I know, we watch you because we support you. But for me personally, it's just, it's more of an inconvenience to me.
That said, it is illegal to actually ask people to click on your ads. I want to make that very clear. And some other partners have gotten their partnership terminated because of that sort of thing. But I find that our community and our audience is very supportive, and also within the long hair community as well. And you will actually find people commenting on your videos on other people's channels and say, why aren't you monetizing? You deserve this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so corsets, as we all know, have long been stigmatized and labeled everything from fetish pieces to symbols of female oppression. Where do you see yourselves in the role of debunking some of these myths? Let's start with you, Andrea.
Well, sometimes when I wear my pieces out for people to see, like as fashion, I feel like I need to explain because there is that taboo. A lot of people do think, oh, it's just for fetish pieces or just for whittling your waist down. And on my videos, I explain I like to wear them for back support. I don't wear them 24/7. I take it off whenever I want. I put it on a couple hours a day, something like that. So I make it clear in my videos of what my objective is with corsets. So I guess the more information we have out there, then the more people can see corsets in a different light.
Phoenix?
I constantly, in the beginning of my videos, when people started commenting negatively on my videos about how I was trying to fit into this structure of beauty, that I was doing this for no one, because if I wanted to fit into some structure of beauty, I would do something far less extreme. And I guess I just try to, as much as I can, remind people that this is more of my fashion choice than an actual sexual piece that will be looked at like that. And though I like to wear mine on the outside, it's a big conversation starter, as you all know. But I think that, in my opinion, the corsets are so beautiful that they should be shown if you want to. But I've actually never used them in other way.
Byrdie?
Yeah, I think that my biggest pet peeve when it comes to people talking about corsets is, why are you wearing that? The feminist movement works so hard to make it so you don't have to wear that. And I'm like, that's exactly the point. They made it so I don't have to wear it. And they gave the women who came before me and give me the right to choose whether or not I want to wear a corset. And I like them. So why would I not wear them if I didn't want to? So I do want to. And also, I think as far as stigma goes, the more we put out there and show in a positive light, the better. I wear mine out as back support as well, but also as a fashionable piece. And I get people coming up all the time like, can't you breathe? Doesn't it hurt? And so the more you can just tell them, no, if you do this in the right way. They're very comfortable, they're very supportive, and they look great. And so we got to do our best to make the world a prettier place, as I've often read on your blog. So
Nice. Meaghann, what about you?
Well, I have received many different types of comments in a couple of languages, asking me the typical, like, can't you breathe? Don't you think it's oppressive? And on the flip side, it's also the stigma of taking something that may perhaps be a compliment in a very wrong direction. And like, oh, you must be really into X, Y, and Z if you are into corseting, or they equate the corset with the fashion pieces that are plastic boned and not meant to stand up to heavy tight lacing. I've had people accuse me of advocating self-harm because of it, advocating eating disorders because of it, and I say, no, I mean, all of us, eat whatever we like, and my favorite line from one of Phoenix's videos is, if it's ever uncomfortable, I don't want to wear it, take the stupid thing off. and that's exactly it, it's, and many people, like, you always have the option not to wear it. No one is forcing you into it. And I do feel a bit of duty to inform people, or at least to destigmatize and say, it's whatever you want it to be. Just like, I don't wear makeup for anybody except for myself, and I don't wear, jeans except for anyone but myself. And same thing with my corset. It's not just a sex piece. It's not something that I put on to take off.
Right.
I don't do it for people to like, look at me, look at me, look at me. But if I want to, that's my prerogative.
Lucy.
Well, I think Phoenix really broke through a certain barrier when she started making her videos, because she was the first person who was not afraid to talk candidly about corsets and to show her face and just say, wow, this is actually okay to do. Like, she didn't remove her personality or her identity from her corseting hobbies or lifestyle. And that was one thing that I really appreciated, because before then I was like a stealth corseter. And coming from a very biology heavy background, one of the biggest, stigmatizations that I try to fight is just the idea that it's really unhealthy for you. And I mean, I could talk for hours about this, but I mean, I do have my physical effects of corseting videos where I cover, each basically part of the body and how the corset affects it. And lately, the media has really picked up on a lot of different people's corseting, and there's always a sensationalization. Is that it?
It's a word now.
Yeah, and I always try to fight that sensationalism, because the media, they cherry pick their evidence and they try to make the most extreme corseters in the most extreme situations look like that's the norm, and that is what everybody's aspiring to. And probably the two most important videos that I have made in terms of physical effects of corseting is how it can improve people's anxiety, and how it worked for people with autism and somatosensory disorders. And because of those things, you don't have to corset down very small. You don't have to waist train. You don't have to even aspire to an hourglass figure if you don't want to. There are millions of corsets out there with all different types of silhouettes, you know what I mean? And so that's just the constant battle for me.
And all of us. Yes. So when you put yourself out there on YouTube, as all of you do, you attract all kinds of attention. And let's face it, not all of it's good. How do you deal with the criticism and negativity, and of course that occasional stalker creeper that might show up on your channel? Let's start with Meaghann.
Oh, okay. Well, for the most part, I'll say flat out, I don't remove comments unless they are very blatantly abusive or they're spam. If they're simply negative, my subscribers and my friends, as Lucy said, will self-moderate, and sometimes they choose to engage, but I typically don't. And as far as stalkers and creepers go, I've had a couple, but it's been block. And don't talk to them, don't engage them, especially when you just, if you have the gut feeling that they're out to get a rise from you, or that they're just no good, don't even talk to them. Don't message them, and there's always, going to YouTube as well. There are ways to block your privacy as much as possible. But as far as simply negative comments, like, people accusing me of advocating eating disorders, or why don't you just lose weight if you want to get a figure? And it's just, a mixture between maybe they're just misinformed and they're stupid, or maybe they're just trying to be malicious and they're bad at it. So I kind of just roll with the punches, and I leave people's particularly gemstone comments up there so that people can see, like, if someone believes that.
What about you, Lucy? She never gets a negative comment.
Well, it's been interesting watching my demographic change over time, because about 6 months into my making videos on my channel, I actually showed the little pie graph of male to female, and it was about 75% male to about 25% female, and I sort of called them out on it. But then I've been online for about 2.5, almost 3 years now, and that's actually flipped. It's about 75%, or actually almost 80% female, 20% male. So I get far fewer, I guess, creeper comments than I did before. And I do appreciate that. I think they kind of gave up on me. Because at first they were always asking me to walk around on stockings, my underwear, and I was just like, nope. And on Tumblr, I sort of became known as the girl next door corseter. So I guess in a nutshell, that gives you the idea of what my channel is all about. And I will just not bend to those sorts of requests. When it comes to trolls and things like that, if they are simply misinformed, then I will try to educate them as best as I can. But if they are simply saying malicious things for the sake of it, those people are beyond help, and I'll just block and delete. They're not worth your time or emotions. Yeah.
What about you, Byrdie?
Yeah, I agree with what both of you guys have said. You got to pick and choose as far as that goes as well. I've never deleted a comment on my page personally. If there was something that was particularly harming, I would have no problem deleting comments. But the only time I've ever really felt a need to respond to comments is when somebody says something that's very obviously misinformed, and you don't want to perpetuate the bad information. So, like, why don't you just go to the gym to get a waist? I know we've all got that one, and it's just so like that's not what corseting is about at all. It's you can be as thin as you want and not have any curves, and so if you want to accentuate your curves, then a corset that's what that's made for. So. I have a very thick skin. It's pretty much impossible to offend me. So the negative comments that people put up, I just kind of let them roll off my back, and I don't know, I don't really pay too much attention to them.
Phoenix?
Oh, I was, I grew up under the guidance of my mother saying, it doesn't at all matter what people think about you, and it never has to me. I've always worn what I wanted. I never have ever cared what people think. If they don't enjoy looking at me, then they don't have to look at me. I've done my hair up in mohawks, and I wear corsets, and I wear extreme high heels, and I wear flats. And to me, I guess it just doesn't matter what people say, except when they attack my children. Those comments get deleted and reported, and they get blocked. But aside from that, most negative comments I don't either block or anything. There are some where I respond to them because it just seems like they think that I'm hurting myself, and I try to say, no, just watch the whole video and comment after the video, and then maybe we can come to an understanding. Aside from that, though, I don't usually block or delete. On my page channel, on my YouTube channel, I do monitor the comments that are up there, but that's just my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea?
Well, fortunately, I haven't had stalkers going on, maybe because I stick to the corset reviews. I only show myself for about 10 seconds maybe, and then it's all about the corset. So maybe they, stop watching my video after that, if that's not what they're looking for. But I have had a few negative comments more recently, and at first I wanted to defend myself and say why they were wrong, but it wasn't working. So I ended up just disabling the comments for that particular video, and I haven't had a problem since.
Nice. All right, ladies, what are the feelings that your friends and family have about you corseting and making videos on YouTube? Why don't we start with you, Lizzie?
They were actually pretty supportive about it. Actually, my very first corset that I had from underneath my Halloween costume when I was 15 years old, my mother helped me make. So, and when I was growing up, like a lot of other teenage girls, I was self-conscious about my figure. At the time, I was very naturally underweight and very up and down, and I was telling my mother I wish I had a little bit of curve or a smaller waist, and she said, oh, well, cinch it. She's so blunt like that, and I don't think she knew that something would come of this, but yeah. Well, I she was very supportive of any type of figure I have, and she always told me I was beautiful. So it's not like she was pressuring me to do it. I didn't really get into corsets heavily until almost 10 years after that, when I had gone up and down in weight and had all sorts of curves and lumps everywhere. And there are times that my mother or my father would see a certain corset on me and say, well, that's small. But they know that I'm pretty intelligent. They know that I always do my research before I jump into something. And they watch all my videos, and so they learn with me and with everybody else. And they've been generally very supportive.
Excellent. Andrea?
Well, my mom doesn't understand it at all. Every time I get a new corset, she's like, you don't need any more new corsets. I'm like, but I tell her I like to wear them for fashion as well as back support. So it's just like another shirt to me. I just want to get another one. Other family members, my sister actually ended up making her a custom corset because she decided after a long time that she wanted some back support, and first she didn't understand, my corseting obsession, but now she gets it. And another family member, she's really impressed with how I've been able to sew my own corsets and how I've progressed with that. And everyone else doesn't really care, I guess.
Byrdie?
Well, my family knew that I had a love of corsets for a while, but I actually didn't even tell them I was making YouTube videos for a bit, so sorry, guys. But once, it all came out and everything, everyone's been really supportive. I think the first time my dad saw me in a corset, he was like, you look like a wasp. And my mom was like, oh my God. But I think everyone they're very supportive, and they understand, to the point now where my mom got a corset. And my sister, who just had a baby, she has also gotten a corset, and she's like, that's helping her out, and she likes it because the baby can just sit right on her hip, right in the little curve there. And so it's been overwhelmingly positive for me. My friends are very supportive of me as well. And so, yeah, it's been pretty good.
Phoenix, what about you?
My experience has been very positive. My mother was the one who actually told me that there was a store in town that was selling corsets. And I said, are they real corsets? So I went down there, and actually my profile picture, or my YouTube picture for a long time, was me in a leopard print skirt and my corset. I looked really happy. That was my very first corset that I ever owned. And so it was my mom who got me into that store. So that was really positive. My sisters, they're kind of whatever about it. And then all of my friends, they love them, and they come and squish and squish and squish me. And, they want to try on my corsets. Way back in the day when I had my custom corset that fit me, I wouldn't let anybody try it on. But they really enjoy it. And I've always had really positive,
Great. Meaghann, what about you?
My friends have met it with curiosity and with fascination, and it's sort of like, well, that's yet another one of Meaghann's strange, quirky things. Like, okay, corset girl. My family has never even batted an eyelash about it. I've been making YouTube videos for a long time about all kinds of things, and their number one priority was like, are you safe, and are you, like, don't go off with any creepy people. I was like, that's fine. My fashion sense has always been a little bit strange, and very eclectic, I should say, because I love formal wear of all kinds. I have a gender bending video, so I have a large amalgamation of waistcoats and straight ties. My dad is usually borrowing my ties. He always thinks that's funny. I just bought my first bow tie, and I'm in love with it. I have a collection of blazers. I have to tell myself not to, go out and get more blazers. But so the corset thing was just another one of those things that just goes right along with it. Like, okay, yeah. And yeah, so they've never really, I've never had anyone in my family or my friend circle mention anything about it, as long as I've been breathing and safe.
Perfect. And our last question before we sign off here today is, I'd like you to share one thing about yourself that perhaps your fans don't already know. And I think we'll just start here with Phoenix and work our way on down the line. So you are on the spot first.
One thing my subscribers might not know is that I'm terrified of the dark. Not necessarily all dark, just say I go out to my car at night to get something I left, I will run back to the house because something is chasing me. I just know it. Or I will reach around the corner in the bathroom with my eyes closed and turn on the light. Aside from that, I sleep in the dark and outside dark. That is, nope.
I guess one thing that I haven't told a lot of my viewers, unless they watch like my really, really old ones, is that I guess I used to dance. Well, not well, but I used to do salsa dancing, I used to do swing dancing, I used to do belly dancing, and music has always played a huge role in my life, and moving to music is one of the most healing things that I can personally do, and I don't ever feel more beautiful than when I'm dancing. And that's one thing that I kind of miss after I moved away from my college city, but I hope to get back into it again.
Well, I've always been really candid with my subscribers. Like I said, I don't censor my channel in any way. I mean, enough to keep it on YouTube. But I've told most of my subscribers everything. I've adopted the languages I speak and the things that I'm into, cooking and soccer and whatever else. But I guess what they might not know is that I still struggle with depression. It's actually up until this meetup, I was struggling really hard with it. I had a really bad crash, and it's something that I've coped with just all kinds of things. I play music, I play the violin, and I write a lot in a journal. It's very cathartic, but I have always been an advocate for destigmatizing things like invisible diseases like depression, mental disorders, and things like that, emotional things that people feel uncomfortable talking about. I made a video not too long ago about bullying and suicide, and that a lot of times even the happiest person that you find, or the most upbeat and bubbly person, can be dealing with a lot of inner demons, and to not think of them differently, and just to not kind of force yourself on them, like, let me help you. It's appreciated, but there's a way to kind of go about it and ease into talking about it if someone isn't quite as candid. So it is possible to be as ridiculous and absurd and crass as I am, and still have the times where you just can't get motivated to do anything, to feed yourself or get out of bed or do anything but lie there. And those times do pass, and you kind of have to remind yourself that you're not by yourself. You've got a wonderful community around you, and if you don't, there are people who will listen to you, like even complete strangers that will listen to you. And yeah, so I'm doing a lot of outreach stuff like that, especially to LGBT youth.
Thank you.
So when I was 18, I actually ruptured a disc in my back, and it was a pretty terrible time. I ended up having surgery a couple years later, and corsets have really helped me out. They provide a really good back support. When I go to craft shows for our business, our family business is glass blowing, and we stand up all day, like sometimes 8-9 hours a day, and it really, really helps. I don't hardly ever get a backache anymore when I'm doing them, so corsetry has really helped me in that. And one more thing that I really like to do is I do my own jewelry making, and I made my own jewelry that I'm wearing today, and also the earrings that the ladies are wearing here. They're little miniature corset busks, so that's fun.
Well, all my fans will know that I always talk about how I wear corsets for back support, and I say I wear them for work, but they don't know where I work. So my occupation, I'm a dental hygienist, and a lot of the hygienists that I talk to, that I work with, will complain about back pain all the time, and I will confess. I'll be like, hey, you know what I do? I wear a corset underneath my scrubs, and no one even knows, but it's very helpful for work. A lot of hygienists have to do chiropractic care or other things just because they're leaning over the patient all day, and so it's great back support.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, ladies. It's really been a pleasure to have you here, and to hear just all of your wisdom and insights and anecdotes have just really been wonderful, wonderful for us and our viewers. Thank you so much again for watching. We'd love to hear what you have to say about all the topics that we discussed here today. And be sure to check out the amazing addition to corsetry each of these ladies has had to offer on their YouTube channels. We'll make sure and include their links below.